Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Okay. It's a 4 downs edition of Purple Daily here, where we're going to take you through first down, second down, third down, and 4th and 8 with 4 questions about the Vikings, a couple that are one for sure that's more league related here. Some Vikings disrespect in here too, I feel like. Some Sam Darnold disrespect. Not sure what's going on there. But Dex, what's going on Underdog Fantasy here as we go into week 3?
A lot of great things happen in Underdog Fantasy. There's bonus tokens that happen on Thursdays. You know, there's extra boosts on Mondays. They're making your life a lot easier at Underdog. And right now, you can still join. We've had a surplus of new users sign up with Underdog, so thank you to everyone who has signed up. If you haven't and you want to get on the action, we got Thursday Night Football coming up. Of course, the Vikings will play on Sunday. It's a great time to watch football, and you can make, picks on the NBA and NHL and MLB also. So a lot of great things. Promo code SCORE, SKOR, gives you a 50% deposit match. Go download Underdog. Get in those picks. Send me those screenshots. Love to see them. Shout out to Underdog.
Also, thank you to Federated Mutual Insurance Company for helping to power daily Vikings entertainment here. If you're a business owner, you want to make sure you have a great offensive line protecting your business is how I would usually explain this. And Federated is just that. For over 100 years, going back to 1904, Federated offers customizable lineups of industry-specific coverages. You can find a full list of industries Federated specializes in working with at federatedinsurance.com. At Federated, it's our business to protect yours, and you can find out more, like I said, at federatedinsurance.com. Okay, first down here, boys.
Everybody hold your water.
If we did an NFC pecking order right now, NFC power rankings, where would the Vikings rank?
Declan, you start, because I've been debating this since I saw the question. I've been debating it.
So I still think the Niners are the best team in the NFC. I know the Vikings just beat them, but I think they're still the best team. They're the bar. They're the bar in the NFC. So I still have the Vikings behind San Francisco despite the win. I think they're still the best team in the NFC. I would go San Francisco, Detroit. I would still have these 1-1 teams over the Vikings. Those are two of the best teams in the NFC. Then it gets fun a little bit here. I think you have to put the Saints now. I think they're the best of the 2-0 because of what they've done on offense, and you can fight me there too. That's fine. I'd probably go Saints, then Vikings. So I'd have the Vikings 4th there, I believe, in my pecking order.
Okay.
Am I just doing 5?
I mean, I just left it open. If you want to rank every NFC team, you're welcome to.
I would prefer not to, but
you want to go through all 16 and see if we get down to the Panthers and the Bears and the Giants?
I would still say the Lions and Niners are still the bar. It's early in the season. But I think what the Saints have done on offense, fluky or not fluky, is more impressive than what the Vikings have done. So I would have them above the Vikings.
In order, Detroit 1. Still. San Francisco 2. This is where I struggle. The Saints are at plus 62 through 2 games in point differential. But are the Saints for real? Like it's 2 games? So you know what? I'm going to go a little bit opposite of Dex. I'm going to put the Vikings 3rd. I'm going to put the Buccaneers 4th and the Saints 5th.
Yeah.
Now, the only issue with what I just did was, if I'm not buying Saints stock, should I be buying as much Vikings stock because it's only 2 games? But having seen how the Vikings play, the eye test, the old peepers, having seen how they play and the style that they play, and I can't emphasize this enough, I love what they're doing. Yeah, the passing game's great. It's fun to watch, but they're running the football. They are physically imposing their will, as the football people say. I'm putting the Vikings 3rd based on that. They have finally, I think if you were to ask me right now in the conference, the 3 most physical, want to kick your ass teams, I think my top 3 are it.
So I agree with Judd on for sure third, and my internal struggle is, do I fight to put them? I know record wise, obviously they're number one, but we're talking about just all right as you move forward here too, and these teams start to sort themselves out. Where is this Vikings team? And we'll find out even more on Sunday because now you got to come off that 49ers win. You get the Texans, and they're one of the best teams in the league. Yeah. The Saints, I get it. Historically, not many teams have started as hot as they have offensively with a plus 62 point differential. One of those games was against the Panthers, and that is a college football organization right now.
Sure.
It's still Derek Carr. They've got, the coaching staff clearly has those guys playing good football, good vibes. I don't know if I trust the Saints to be sitting there as like a dominant NFC team at the end of the year. I think the Buccaneers, when it all sorts out, are the best team in the NFC South.
That's my question.
And I think the Vikings are better than the Buccaneers.
Yeah, but that's my question. You just hit on my biggest question. I think we have now seen a large enough sample size from Todd Bowles and the Bucs. I think they're for real.
They are. I would put the Bucs above the Vikings.
Would you?
Yes. I think right now, the Bucs would beat the Vikings.
They're very similar in that they've got kind of the quarterback that everyone thought was a bust. Baker's like a year further into that journey.
Baker is so confused, he starts to cry. You're going to win like that's the thing is Flores. Like this defense is two things: one, incredibly smart and nuanced, and physical. So,
I mean, Baker,
but I do like the Bucs. I'm with
different defense, but Baker, credit to him, he literally figured out Brian Flores' defense at halftime. He literally said, "I know what they're doing," and picked it apart in the second half. Different personnel, different situation, but
that's what I was going to say.
So I mean, there's like, what do you do with the Buccaneers, Vikings? Say, I mean, I'll put the Seahawks in too, because people look at the Seahawks in the same way, like Geno Smith. I don't know, but it's year 3 of Geno Smith playing pretty damn well.
Right.
But a new coaching staff, but they have weapons. Dude, Jackson Smith and Jigba had 12. DK Metcalf 10 catches. Jackson Smith and Jigba 12 catches. Weapons, they got 2 good running backs when healthy. And so my biggest question remains, what do you do with Lions and Niners? And I still think those are the 2 best rosters and on paper the 2 best teams. But there's a certain aspect of the 49ers that's always kind of, I've been looking at sideways since the end of the season last year. They're another year older. Can you continue to just like dust yourself off after going that far and losing again in the Super Bowl and be right back at it? Well, Christian McCaffrey is out for half the year now. And I get that the backup Mason has been incredible.
But Debo's hurt now.
Debo's hurt now. Ayuk has not looked like the same guy, missing all of training camp. So I don't have a problem saying Vikings above 49ers in this hypothetical exercise.
So you're putting them second?
I'll put them second. I'll go Lions number 1, even though they lost the game. And then I'll put Vikings number 2, just a half notch above the Niners. And I'll go Buccaneers, Saints, probably into Seahawks. Cowboys and Eagles. Dude, the Eagles feel off.
He's
the coaching situation.
Walking. He's an ass.
And the Cowboys defense is a big question mark. But just one more thing before we get to second down here. We kind of touched on this on Ventline and maybe on the Monday Hottest Takes episode. This is the closest the Vikings have felt to the 49ers blueprint or the Rams when they were fully stocked. Like the blueprint that Kevin O'Connell, I think, aspires to put out. Yep. Where you can kind of you'd like to have a high-end quarterback, but you can kind of put any competent quarterback in and elevate that quarterback.
Right.
Dynamic run game for the first time going into year 3 here of Kevin O'Connell. And then a swarming 3-4 defense that flusters quarterbacks, generates turnovers and sacks, physical. The Vikings have not felt physically imposing in the first 2 years of Kevin O'Connell. Small sample size, 2 weeks, but this feels much more 49ers-like and physical than at any point in his Vikings career so far.
Yeah, and I mean that's why the whole goal, starting with the springtime workouts, but we saw it on a daily basis in training camp. This was the entire goal. This is the first time that O'Connell approached a training camp not paranoid about guarding against guys being hurt or tired. Because he basically said, look at how we started last year. It didn't work. Like, we weren't tired, but we played lethargic. So, yeah, this again is in my mind, this is when the Vikings new brass sat down and said, who are we? What do we want to be? And it's been tweaked a little bit. This is the first time that we're seeing this. Like the actual ideas on paper are now being executed. And it helps that you've got a DC who's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like you've gone from a buffoon to a genius.
Buffoon just remains a great insulting word.
Ed Donatel, buffoon. Buffoon.
Second down question. Are the Vikings getting enough respect after the first 2 weeks? And I'll give you two little just snippets, and you guys can jump in here.
Sure.
So in terms of team rankings, ESPN's FPI, that would be the Football Power Index.
Football.
Some analytics involved here. Has the Vikings at 16th through the first 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. The Niners are number 1. Bills number 2, Chiefs, Eagles 3 or 4, Lions, Saints, Texans, Ravens, Cardinals. But some of the teams that are above the Vikings here are the Jets, the Bengals at 0-2. I mean, I actually think the Bengals are. We talked about this a little bit, and I have an 0-2 related question, but like I'm fine with them being ranked pretty high. Mm-hmm. But Falcons, this version of the Cowboys, so 16th, and then. The Ringer does the weekly quarterback updates, the rankings. And Sam Darnold was 29th going into the season. All right, whatever. 29th after week 1. And he remains 29th after week 2.
Right.
And here's what the rankings look like just around Sam Darnold. So Andy Dalton is right below him, hasn't played a game yet. Gardner Minshew and then Malik Willis. So 29, Sam Darnold. 28, Jaden Daniels. 27, Will Levis. 26, Deshaun Watson. 25, Daniel Jones. 24, Russell Wilson. 23, Caleb Williams, who's been historically awful the first in terms of like net yards per attempt through the first 2 games. 22, Jacoby Brissett. And 21, one speed and one speed only, Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
I feel...
It's
a little disrespect here.
This is lunacy. That's what I tweeted out this morning on this. This is absolute lunacy. First off, Russell Wilson hasn't played. He hasn't started. He's not even the starting quarterback for his own team, and he's ahead of him. Another thing, Daniel Jones, dude. Now he bounced back in week 2. If you want to go from hell up to the ground, okay, he bounced back. But let's be honest. I think. If you surveyed 32 GMs, Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold right now, I think the majority of them take Sam Darnold. And if Jacoby Brissett, who, look, he's a veteran QB, he can win some random games here and there. He's gone up 3 spots since the preseason rankings. He started at 25, then was 23, is now 22. How does Jacoby Brissett, my windy fingers, go up 3 spots? And Sam Darnold remains the same. Your
wild.
stew is spoiled. Your quarterback stew ranking is absolutely spoiled. I don't know what we're looking at here.
I mean, I'll give you Will Levis as another example. Dude, Will Levis has had 2 of the dumbest plays of the season so far. One in which his head coach ran down the sideline on full national, not national TV, but like regional Fox or whatever, and yelled, "What the F are you doing?"
Brian Callahan hates him, and that's why O'Connell didn't like him. Here's my response. This is perfect. This is what you want. Like O'Connell addressed this, and if you were to ask him this question, he would dodge it. But because it was his decision to broach it, he addressed this on Sunday. Darnold slander. Some people think that basically we're not good, or the expectations are. What does that mean? A lot of people have looked foolish. Keep it coming. If you're a Vikings fan, keep them 20 or keep Darnold 29th. Keep the Vikings mid-pack. So yes, if they beat the Texans, I mean, this eventually will start to shift. It just takes time because I think it's tough to give up what your expectation was and change that immediately. But if I'm O'Connell or the team, I love this. There's nothing better in football than the world thinks we suck and we don't. So, yes, the national folks are wrong right now, but I think it's a huge advantage to continue to basically frame this as well, I guess we beat San Fran and nobody thinks we're good still.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is such a classic example of it's not as much about the quarterback. It's about the surroundings. And we've gone over ad nauseum the last 6 months. Darnold's situation with the Jets versus situation here and why he projected to make a jump in performance by just putting him into a good situation. And here we are watching it happen. And Bryce Young is the exact opposite. I am sick to my stomach. It triggers me to watch what's happening to Bryce Young in Carolina. Probably never should have been playing even in his rookie season, the first part of the year. Train wreck ownership. The guy, like, just terrible hires, boisterous. An owner with an opinion is one to look sideways at in the NFL. Operate in the shadows, hire smart people, be patient, especially with young quarterbacks. And is it Robert Tepper is the guy's name? Is the exact opposite. He's knee-jerk fired everyone from Matt Rule over to Frank Reich. And now is it Dave Canales is the coach there? And clearly, like, Dave Canales, after that game was over on Sunday, said, yeah, Bryce Young's our quarterback. And then clearly Tepper gets to him in the 12 hours between the next press conference. And Dave Canales is like, well, after consulting with some people and watching the film. So, like, Bryce Young, everyone's going to label Bryce Young as, oh, man, what a terrible quarterback. He's a bust. Well, maybe that's true, but he's never been given a chance. Like, the guy was thrown into a fire, a raging NFL fire. I mean, what is he supposed to do? So, I don't know. I think I sensed that from Kevin O'Connell in his comments about Darnold. I mean, he was emotional talking about, for anyone that needed to see it, there's a really talented quarterback in here. And, man, I bet guys like Kevin O'Connell and Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan get so triggered watching Carolina and some of these organizations fumble these quarterback situations.
And if I'm not mistaken, Frank Reich, who was an offensive mind and a quarterback in his playing days, didn't last an entire year. And then they put in an interim coach, and then they bring Canales, who's got a completely new system, which would be difficult for a veteran quarterback. Dude, so yeah, it's a mess. But I will say this, you know, in through O'Connell's comments though, I don't know that they get triggered as much as we think, because they also know what they're watching. Like the Vikings, and at the time we all thought, hey, Levis easily could have been a Viking. And he's one of the primary guys I think O'Connell is talking about when he says, yeah, these guys in the building get mad because I'm the quarterback killer. Like, I killed their dreams. So, like, this again is you have to have somebody who knows what they're watching. Like, we all have opinions and we watch college games. Okay, but we don't know what we're talking about. These guys definitely do. So it's like I guess the question is this. Bryce Young has now been put in a terrible situation, but was he, among the real experts, even the right pick? Or was Stroud? Sounds like a lot of people in Carolina wanted Stroud and were overruled by Tepper. So, like, this is a very nuanced game. And I think that we think that, first-round quarterbacks, they all should be good. And I think guys like O'Connell are like, not necessarily. Yeah. So some of them are, but not all of them.
Do you think, so Stroud goes into Houston, which at the time of the draft pick looked like a train wrecky situation based on what had happened in years prior. But Houston developed, now it's some different people. It's hard to say, but like it's some different people that had their hands on Deshaun Watson, no pun intended, versus CJ Stroud. But that organization, the first 3 years of Deshaun Watson, he was awesome.
Yes.
And then CJ Stroud comes along and he's got a couple good weapons on offense. He's got, offensive linemen. They bring in a defensive coach in DeMeco Ryans. But if you flip-flop the situations, this is what we'll never be able to know in retrospect.
Right.
Would CJ Stroud have saved the Panthers, or would the Panthers have swallowed up CJ Stroud and he would have been a train wreck? If Bryce Young gets drafted by the Texans and he's throwing to Nico Collins and Tank Dell and that's what we'll never know.
Or was he just too small? Like there's a ton of things that we just don't know, and we think, well, the experts say that these are the top three guys. Not necessarily. We don't know that. But I mean, I think O'Connell's comment about saying, I let the building down a lot because I kept killing the idea of this QB and that one is so telling, because it's what you want to hear.
Yeah. I'm just going to, let's see here. I want to go through the rest of this quarterback rankings list. I think it just jumped on me. Here we go. So, they have team power rankings too on the Ringer. Let's see where they have the Vikings, just out of curiosity.
15th.
I'm scrolling down. 12th.
Oh,
They got the
Okay.
Vikings 12th. Yeah. That's probably about right. So they got Patrick Mahomes number 1, Josh Allen number 2, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. This is great for Herbert, man. Just sit there. He's thrown 44 passes all year so far, while J.K. Dobbins runs for $120 every game.
yeah.
And then Matthew Stafford 5, Dak Prescott, that's a little high. Dak Prescott 6, Trevor Lawrence, slow start 7, C.J. Stroud 8. I feel like Stroud should be higher than 8. It's ridiculous.
I'd put Stroud above Dak, to be honest with you.
Yes.
I think I would too.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, third down incoming here. Third down
Everybody hold your water.
after we say hi to Finch Home Solutions.
Oh, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. All right, let me talk to you about my friend Cody Finch and his team at Finch Home
Let me talk to you.
Solutions. You see the vans leaving right there, bright and early, to fix any electrical issues that you might have in your home, big or small. But you know what? Cody, huge Vikings fan, and I want to talk to you right now about a team that is 2-0, about a team that looks like it might have a really surprise here. And guys, how can you, and gals, how can you celebrate that? I'm going to tell you right now, because Finch is a certified dealer and installer of gemstone lights, which are permanent holiday lighting. But here's the thing. Besides not having to get up on the roof in the cold and put up lights, you can also change those lights to, let's say, how about purple? How about purple on a Friday before a big game? And then everybody knows how much you love that team. Give them a call, 612-357-2604, or check them out, finchhomesolutions.com. Schedule appointments there. Very easy site to navigate. finchhomesolutions.com. There is Cody Finch's team, the best in town.
Hey, the Renaissance Festival is still happening until the end of the month. Open weekends through September 29th. You can throw axes, wield swords, watch live armored combat jousting, tasty turkey legs, Nordic meatballs, pork belly burnt ends, so many fun things. 16 stages of entertainment, huge marketplace. Great place to bring the family. The Minnesota Renaissance Festival. Discounted tickets at renaissancefest.com. You can also register right now in listener rewards on the Score North app for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Renaissance Festival. That's the listener rewards section of the Score North app. Okay.
Green 18! Green 18!
Third down. Which of these 0-2 teams will still make the playoffs? Or maybe you have more than one. So historically, about 12% of 0-2 teams make the playoffs in the NFL. And these are the 0-2 teams. The Ravens, the Bengals, the Rams, Colts, Jaguars, Titans, Broncos, Giants, Panthers. Or maybe it's none. Do any of those 0-2 teams make the playoffs?
No, I like Baltimore. Resilient, tough team. Resilient. And the percentages say that your chances to make the playoffs have dropped, but we have seen resilient teams, veteran teams, long in the tooth. I like the Ravens 1, and if I had to pick a second, I would pick the Bengals. Besides that, I think the Rams, I mean, perhaps they get guys back, but they are decimated right now. I'm not a real believer in the Colts. The Jaguars, I want to ride the Trevor Lawrence experience, but it just continues to sort of, I don't know, waffle at times. Titans, closed circuit, Brian Callahan. Bench your quarterback. Quit ripping him publicly. It doesn't help anybody, and you're going to lose.
I think it's fun. I'd love to see this pattern continue. Just keep putting him out there and then making fun of him and dunking on him.
It's hilarious. Broncos, Sean Payton, I think is going to be done after this season. Giants, same thing. Coaching change, quarterback change as well. And the Panthers, I mean, if
Not a Panthers guy?
If ever we needed relegation, it is for the Carolina Panthers. They should be in, I don't know, Division II football, CFL. Let's send them to Canada.
Let's promote Georgia or Texas from the SEC.
Anyway,
What about you, Dex? Any of these 0-2 teams?
In the NFC, I mean, no. Maybe the Rams, because the Giants and the Panthers aren't making any playoffs. Maybe the Rams, but they're so decimated by injuries at this point. Even though I still like Stafford and I love Sean McVay, it just might be too tough to overcome the injuries in that division. Plus, the division's a lot better. I think the Cardinals are going to be a lot better. With the AFC teams, Like the Ravens and Bengals, I think are easy to assume, but I think it's going to be difficult for both of them to get in if they're both 0-2 at this point. With the Steelers being 2-0, maybe the Browns fall off, but I think it's going to be difficult for both those teams to get in. I think one for sure does, and I'd probably lean Bengals. Mostly because I more stand for Joe Burrow than I do Lamar Jackson. That's more of just a personal eye test thing. And then I've been as out on the Jaguars as anyone. I don't buy the Trevor Lawrence generational hype. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I just don't think he is ever going to live up to the generational talent that he was once was projected to be. And I would say probably the Bengals. I think that's the only team I can really ride with right now.
Judd, you were going to say something? You were jumping in there.
Yeah, the vibes with the Bengals are really weird. The Jamar Chase thing.
Yeah.
Like he's been the anti-Jefferson, who was, his college teammate. The vibes there are just odd. They seem off. And I don't know that Zach, it's Taylor, right? Their coach. Mm-hmm. I don't know that Zach Taylor is, I feel like John Harbaugh can get the train back on the track. Like Joe Burrow's great, but I just think there's more of a mentality and toughness in Baltimore. Because I do agree with Dex. Odds are both teams are not going to come back and make the playoffs.
So
I do like Burrow.
Schedules factor in big time here with this because it's like, okay, you're 0-2. You got to get a win here soon. I've been a Jaguars believer, but man, starting 0-2, losing at home to Cleveland 18-13. Okay, we gotta get a win, right? Well, here's the next two games for the Jaguars: at Buffalo on Monday night, and then at Houston in Week 4 on a short week.
It's gonna be tough.
So yeah, you can probably kiss the Jaguars goodbye. And then you guys have mentioned the injuries for the Rams, and then really interesting in that prime Fox afternoon slot, the 3:25 slot, it's Rams hosting 49ers. So you're either going to have an 0-3 Rams team, likely with the injuries, or a 1-2 49ers team and a 1-2 Rams team if the Rams win that game.
Yep.
That's crazy. But in the AFC, the reason I say Bengals, the Bengals for me are the only one of these teams that I'm still on the Colts train a little bit because I do think they're well coached, and if they can just get Anthony Richardson to do anything in the intermediate range, then they can win some games.
That defense got so embarrassed. Like you can't be that weak against the run. That was a joke.
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, you knew they were going to run the ball too. Like Malik Willis isn't going to throw 30 times. But so here's the thing about the Ravens. All the things you guys said, well coached, Lamar Jackson, but at Dallas on Sunday, and then Sunday Night Football against the Bills in Week 4, and then at Cincinnati in Week 5 to dig out of an 0-2 hole.
Oh, go to it.
And then they get Washington at home. That's a win. But then they go at Tampa Bay, at Cleveland. Later in the year, they have to go at Chargers, at Houston. So, that's brutal. Bengals, on the other hand, the next couple weeks get the Commanders at home on Monday night this week, and then at Carolina. So, the Bengals, even if the vibes are weird, should roll off 2 straight wins into the Baltimore game. Mm-hmm. So this is where, the way your schedule rolls out, it makes a huge difference.
What do you guys make of Dallas? I don't know what to make of Dallas. I don't necessarily like them.
Yeah, but
and
I mean,
they
in
always
any given
win
week,
regular season games. Yeah, but I'm just saying, as a team, do I look at Dallas and think, oh boy, or do I look at Dallas and think, okay, but a good team can beat them?
I think Dallas feels lesser than last year. It just their running back situation, Zeke Elliott, and then whoever the other guy is. I'm not a big Dallas believer.
Signed, right? Dalvin Cook signed there. I don't know if he's still there, but he signed.
Yeah,
there.
but okay.
I know
the geriatric running backs.
Well, and then what the Saints did, the Saints just put a tutorial on film, clearly, from Clint Kubiak on how to completely destroy Zim's defense. How much do you guys think Clint Kubiak used his knowledge from here as well? That's a big advantage. Because Zim's old, so he's got his tells, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Absolutely.
like B-flow here. He's I'm going to mix this up and mix that up. Zim's this works.
Well, another thing, and this is something to watch for the Vikings, because the Vikings tend to have smaller personnel on defense. It's worked very well so far, but what smarter people than me have said about the first couple weeks is you're seeing like these defenses for years and years had shifted to smaller, faster sub-package to defend the passing game that ran wild.
Right.
And now offenses are saying, oh, okay, you're going to just have your small nickel and dime packages out there or your undersized defenders. We're going to run the ball down your throat. We're going to put 2 or 3 tight ends on the field. We're going to put a fullback on the field, and we're going to run the ball. And that's what the Packers did to the Colts. It's what the Saints did in part to the Cowboys. So that's what the Vikings are trying to do, run the ball more and just be heavier personnel.
And on our new PD show, Meat and Potatoes, Forno told us yesterday, this excites me so much, teams are going back to the fat guy because of this. Like, we're seeing the fat guy come back because of exactly that.
On defense, you're saying? Or what are you saying?
On defense, yes.
Okay.
The run game, so we talked about this. So the run game is now coming back because of all the things that you just talked about, right? Smaller defensive tackles, smaller guys. And so offenses are going to bring the run back. And what Forno was saying is this means the big fat nose tackle is coming back. Space filler, gap eater. The A-gap doesn't exist with that guy. So like I love that football. Oh God, I'm excited. Nothing like a fat guy in the middle. Nothing.
4th and 8.
Everybody hold your water.
I'm on oddshark.com. Next NFL head coach fired odds. I'm just going to roll through this list, and you guys tell me on each name, will this coach be fired by March?
Okay.
Or no?
Okay.
Will Brian Dable's odds on right now to be fired. Will Brian Dable be fired by March?
Yes.
He will be, but I don't think he should. I think the GM should take the fall here, and I think he deserves a shot with a rookie quarterback.
I think he's gonna get a shot with like a drafted quarterback too. They're gonna draft like Quinn Ewers or somebody.
If he spoke up for Daniel Jones at all, if he even nodded his head, he's fired.
Well, yeah, that's the question. Like, to what extent did he green light? Yeah, I can do this with a $40 million Daniel Jones.
Yep.
Cool. You're going to lose Saquon because of that, and not going to have any other weapons. Okay, does Doug Peterson get fired by March?
Yes.
I think they're going to be 0-4.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a yes.
I struggle with this one more, but yeah, if they are not only not successful, but healthy, Trevor Lawrence continues to regress, I think he probably has to be fired, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he's there for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. And schedule can't be an excuse because, like, by now you were supposed to be competing with. Now their weapons are kind of depleted, and that's a front office thing. Okay, is Mike McCarthy going to be fired by March?
Do they win a playoff game? Because
I don't think this team does. I don't think so.
Okay, if they don't, then yes, he's fired. I think this is finally it. But by the way, Jerry Jones, far more patient with McCarthy and Jason Garrett.
Garrett got like 8 years.
Yeah. He does not pull, and I think it's partially because his son Steven is the actual GM now. But the Cowboys aren't nearly as impatient as we perceive them. But I think that if they don't make the playoffs or don't win a playoff game, I think this is the end of the line for Mike McCarthy.
Mm-hmm. Robert Saleh. I'll give you a few names. Robert Saleh, Matt Eberflus, and Nick Sirianni.
Jeez, that's just like so many yeses.
Eberflus, yes.
Sirianni, yes.
I think Eberflus is a yes. Sirianni's a for sure yes.
Well, and the fact that they did not fire Matt going into this year, like last March, like you have, I mean, from what I've seen, Caleb Williams is a really good player potentially, right? But there's a lot of flaws. And if I run that team, I want an O'Connell, a McVay, a Shanahan in his back pocket to help him. And instead you got a defensive guy who's not that great, who then is going to hire an offensive staff. Bears, like this was coming. Like you could see the problems here. So yeah.
Did KOC interview for that Bears job?
I don't.
They were hired at the same time.
I don't remember what other places. He definitely had a couple interviews, right? He had more than one interview.
He might have talked to him.
Don't remember for sure. So I don't know. It seems like the winds have changed. Well, Robert Saleh, if they don't make the playoffs, that's an easy one.
If the
you got
Eagles,
Rodgers, you got some weapons, your defense.
if the Eagles struggle, what are the odds that Sirianni, who again, a buffoon type, doesn't make it through the season? I think he's just a jerk.
He is. He's going off on reporters. He's throwing his offensive coordinator under the bus. He's just kind of to me, he comes in, and if your organization needs a firecracker for a couple years, okay. But if you don't have another more intellectual gear, like an emotionally intelligent level to your game,
Well,
then you're probably going to be short-lived.
And his replacement, at least for the rest of the season, is standing right there. It's Declan's guy, Kellen Moore.
Oh, not Big Dom?
Well, that's something. No, I'd get rid of that guy too. That's another on the long line of
Big
Zolgadian
Dom.
buffoon lists. Big Dom getting himself in every camera shot he possibly can.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Big Dom should have been in The Sopranos. He would have been great as a character there. But yeah,
Big Dom.
I think
okay,
Sirianni
guy.
might get blown out. I really do if they don't play well.
So, well, those are your 4 downs here. Purple Daily
Green 18!
going into week 3. You got that scratch-off ticket there too? Huh?
Hold on a second.
Huh?
Yes.
Huh?
You know what? These coaches might be fired. That means that they will be trying to find a payday. Well, Sports Dad's got the answer because this right here is the Vikings Classic Scratch Game. And if you see right in the corner, it's $5. What can you win? Well, you're looking, if you're watching this right now, you're looking at it, win up to $100,000. Okay, but if you don't win, don't worry about it. Second chance prizes, season tickets, or an away game trip for the Purple. That is officially exciting. Minnesota Lottery, just say I'm in. Must be 18 or older to play the Minnesota Lottery. The official scratch game of the Vikings means that, you know what? If you're in need of some cash, take a shot. See if you can win.
Amen. All right. If you missed the Write That Down edition of Purple Daily with the Quarterback Cesspool Challenge, we got a couple episodes on your feed here. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and the like button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, where we go live after every single Vikings game. Vikings Vent Line is the post-game show to be at right after Vikings-Texans finish up from U.S. Bank Stadium this weekend. For the Sports Dad, Judd, for mustached executive producer Dex, I am Phil Mackey. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.